Another day, another shockwave rattling through WNBA, and this one has fans clutching their jerseys in disbelief. The latest whispers echoing through league circles are more than just rumor. They're the kind of whispers that keep front office execs awake at night. Are the Indiana Fever actually preparing to trade Caitlin Clark? The internet's ablaze with speculation, and it all started with one explosive article by insider Scott Agnes. In it, he hinted at something no one was ready to hear, that Clark's very presence and her unstoppable fan base might be more of a burden than a blessing inside the Fever organization. Imagine that. The woman who single-handedly resurrected a franchise from irrelevance is now being painted as a problem. Agnes wrote about how Clark's fans, not the team itself, have taken over the arena energy, leaving some in the organization uncomfortable. It's like blaming the sun for shining too brightly after years of darkness. Are we seriously calling success a liability now? And if the Fever are really considering the unthinkable, they're about to unleash a public relations meltdown unlike anything women's sports has ever seen. Because let's be real, Caitlin Clark isn't just a rookie phenom. She's a global sensation. She's the reason people are watching, buying tickets, streaming games, and wearing WNBA jerseys in malls across America. If Indiana actually goes through with a trade, they might as well print "We quit" signs on every remaining ticket stub. You think you've seen fan backlash before? This would make past controversies look like spilled popcorn at halftime. She's not just the face of the Indiana Fever. She is the Indiana Fever. Without her, they're not a team fighting for playoff glory. They're a ghost of what could have been. And the fan base knows it. The idea of shipping her off feels like watching someone throw away a winning lottery ticket because they didn't like the font. This isn't about basketball anymore. This is about legacy, relevance, and the soul of a sport hanging in the balance. You think fans will stick around after a Clark trade? Think again. These aren't just sports fans. These are loyalists, evangelists, ride-or-die supporters who fly cross-country to see her play. They don't care what jersey she wears. They care that she is on the court. Remove Clark, and you're not just losing your star player. You're hitting eject on an entire movement. You'll hear more echoes and cheers in Gainbridge Fieldhouse. And that's not a prediction. That's a promise. The sheer delusion of thinking the Fever brand could outlast Clark's exit is wild beyond belief. Before she arrived, Indiana Fever games felt like open gym runs, low attendance, lower energy, and barely a blip on national radar. Post-Clark, it's standing room only. She turned them from a trivia question into a main event, from filler content to viral headlines. To act like that kind of momentum can just be swapped out for gritty rebuild vibes is pure fantasy. There's no trade package in the universe that matches her value, not even close. Picks, bench players, a future star, none of it holds weight when you're losing the one person who makes your franchise matter. It's like trading Beyoncé for a garage band demo tape. She's not just on SportsCenter. She is SportsCenter. Every shot she takes trends on TikTok, ESPN, and your grandma's Facebook timeline. And yet, some people in that organization think the Fever are the main attraction, not Clark. As if the color scheme, logo, and city name Indiana are enough to draw 17,000 screaming fans every night. Spoiler alert, they're not. This is Disneyland, and Clark is Mickey Mouse. You take her away, and suddenly you're just a very expensive parking lot with churros. Let's not forget what she's done on the court. Logo threes, buzzer beaters, trash talk that turns home crowds into hostile territory for opponents. She's not just great, she's hated in the best possible way. A villain to rival teams, a hero to fans, and a ratings juggernaut the league has never seen before. Even the players know it. Sophie Cunningham admitted it when she was in Phoenix. Teammates were gunning for Clark just to humble her. But the fact that they felt the need to humble a rookie speaks volumes about the jealousy swirling beneath the surface. Clark didn't ask for the spotlight. She earned it. And that spotlight is now blinding anyone who ever underestimated her. Let's talk dollars. The kind of dollars that make execs sweat and investors smile. Caitlin Clark is responsible for 45%. Yes, 45% of the WNBA's entire broadcast value last season. Merch sales exploded by 500%. Her jersey was number one before she even played a pro game. That's not a player. That's an economic miracle in sneakers. Let's talk dollars. Not just salary cap numbers or ticket prices, but the kind of dollars that shift entire business strategies. reroute advertising budgets, and make Fortune 500 companies scramble to attach their name to a single player. Caitlin Clark isn't just bringing fans to the arena, she's dragging entire industries into the WNBA ecosystem. From sports apparel to fast food chains, from airlines to sneaker giants, the flood of corporate attention isn't because the Indiana Fever are executing pick and rolls. It's because Clark is printing money with every dribble. We're talking about a woman who, before she played a single professional minute, had Nike, Gatorade, and Wilson basketballs essentially bidding for a piece of her aura. Her pre-draft nil deals were already shattering records, but once she entered the WNBA, it wasn't a step, it was a launch. The Fever didn't draft a player. They acquired an economic engine with global horsepower. And if they trade her, they're not just giving up a shot at the playoffs. They're forfeiting generational wealth. Broadcast networks know it. When Clark's games are scheduled, viewership spikes by hundreds of thousands, sometimes more. League Pass subscriptions saw unprecedented growth once she arrived, turning what was once a niche service into a must-have sports package. Sponsors didn't wait to be pitched. They came knocking. Corporate activations in arenas have doubled. Social media impressions have tripled. Brand engagement across the board has exploded, all with one common denominator: Caitlin Clark. And let's not forget the merchandise. Her jersey sales didn't just top WNBA charts. They rivaled NBA rookies. Stores couldn't keep number 22 jerseys in stock. Online retailers had wait lists. Even teams without any connection to the Fever were seeing a boost in foot traffic thanks to Clark-driven fan interest. This wasn't normal. This was phenomenal. She didn't enter the league quietly. She rewrote the economic model. Now ask yourself, what kind of franchise and what kind of sport trades away its most profitable asset in decades? This isn't a team trimming payroll or offloading an aging star. This is a franchise holding a once-in-a-lifetime ticket to cultural and financial dominance, and the idea of trading it sounds less like strategy and more like sabotage. It's not a basketball decision. It's a boardroom blunder waiting to happen. The corporate world sees her for what she is, a global ambassador for the modern WNBA. Major brands don't see Indiana, they see Caitlin. They don't care who's setting screens or boxing out in the paint. They want the name, the likeness, the viral moments, the post-game quotes. That's where the real value lies. And you don't toss it aside unless you're completely disconnected from reality. Every time Clark laces up her shoes, she brings an economy with her. Ticket scalpers raise their prices. Vendors triple their inventory. Local hotels get booked out. Restaurants near arenas staff up on game day. Uber demand surges. This isn't just about sports anymore. It's event economics. Clark games aren't just watched, they're experienced. They're cultural happenings with real GDP impact. And the Fever? They've been cashing those checks since day one. From media rights to ticket revenue, they've reaped the benefits of being the team that drafted the new face of basketball. Not just women's basketball. Basketball, period. Trading her wouldn't just be a loss. It would be an abdication of the throne. Think about how fast this rise happened. Less than a year ago, the Fever were struggling to draw 5 digits in the stands. Now, they're drawing 5 times their previous averages. Not because they suddenly discovered a new offensive scheme, but because a generational icon decided to call Indiana home. You don't replace that with a gritty culture reset. You don't replace it at all. Clark has managed to do something nearly impossible in sports. She's united generations. Young kids, teens, their parents, even grandparents, all in the same arena, all watching with the same excitement. She's not just an athlete. She's a movement, a brand that transcends demographics, cutting through politics, geography, and even fandom. She's a rare player who makes neutral fans care. You want to talk ROI? Clark's presence alone has raised the valuation of the Indiana Fever as a franchise. Her contract might be a rookie deal on paper, but the value she generates? That's CEO-level output. She doesn't just create revenue. She elevates everyone around her. Players get more endorsement deals. Opponents get more TV time. Teammates get bigger platforms. That kind of value? It's irreplaceable. We're now in an era where teams aren't just evaluated by wins and losses. They're evaluated by influence, market reach, cultural cachet. And no one brings more of that to the table than Caitlin Clark. Trading her would be like Netflix canceling their top show mid-season. Viewers wouldn't just switch the channel. They'd unsubscribe entirely. And that's the chilling part. The Fever's success isn't systemic, it's singular. Take Clark out of the equation, and the whole machine sputters, the viewership plummets, the jersey sales dry up, the viral moments vanish, and the conversations shift from how far can it go to how fast did they fall. They become the cautionary tale taught in every sports business class from here to eternity. What's worse, the media narrative wouldn't stop at poor decision. It will become scorched earth. How did Indiana lose the league's golden goose? Why didn't they protect her better? Who let this happen? Headlines, documentaries, think pieces, all of them dragging the Fever brand through the mud. Meanwhile, the team that receives Clark in this hypothetical deal, they'd go from bottom dweller to America's team overnight. Doesn't matter if it's a market with more cows than people. Clark shows up, and suddenly you're selling out 20,000-seat arenas. The Fever will be left behind, watching their once-in-a-generation star turn someone else's franchise into a dynasty. And here's the biggest irony. Clark's success is what made this conversation possible in the first place. Her impact is so massive, so undeniable, that the idea of how do we keep up with her has now morphed into, should we move on? That's not strategy. That's fear disguised as forward thinking. And it's a dangerous mindset, because Clark isn't a phase. She's not a flash in the pan. She's a foundational piece of what the future of this league looks like. Not 5 years from now. Today, every team in the league would trade their entire starting five for her. That's not hyperbole. That's market value. So if the Fever can't recognize that, they deserve to lose her and everything she brought with her. Now imagine choosing to walk away from that. Imagine some boardroom of suits deciding that long-term team culture matters more than actual success. It would be like Apple firing Tim Cook and replacing him with a blender. You don't trade a generational brand builder because a few veterans feel salty about their shrinking spotlight. That's not leadership, that's lunacy. Even if the Fever win a title without her playing most of the season, people will always put an asterisk on it. They'll say, Clark missed most of the regular season. It doesn't count. That's the double-edged sword of having a superstar. When she's missing, her absence is all anyone talks about. When she's present, she elevates everything around her. Either way, she's the center of the conversation. And that's why her fan base is so powerful. They're not tuning in for team loyalty or conference standings. They're tuning in for her. She could be playing with scarecrows and still sell out arenas. She could be on a team with one scoreboard, 2 working players and 0 playoff hopes, and still dominate the headlines. You can't replicate that. You can only ride it or ruin it. The Fever are sitting on gold and somehow acting like it's too heavy to carry. If they trade her, they're not making a smart business decision. They're burning their own empire to the ground. And the fallout won't just be angry fans and bad press. It'll be irrelevance. Sponsors will back away. TV crews will reroute. Ticket sales will crater faster than a mid-season collapse. Caitlin Clark isn't just a needle mover. She is the needle. She dictates ratings, drives revenue, and shifts the cultural conversation. And yet, some people want to hit the eject button on all of that. It's not just short-sighted. It's self-destructive. The league isn't just thriving because of a team. It's thriving because of her. You can't teach this kind of magnetism. You can't draft it again. And you sure as hell can't trade it without consequences. Clark is building something that's never been done in women's basketball before. A global brand within a domestic league. A movement in a jersey. A walking revolution. The Fever think they're managing a team. They're actually holding a lightning bolt in their hands. And they're seriously considering throwing it into the ocean. Every time they hesitate to protect her, support her, or even understand her value, they edge closer to disaster. And if they do the unthinkable, if they trade Caitlin Clark, the WNBA will never be the same. And neither will they. Let's be absolutely clear about what's at stake here. This isn't just a story about a team and its star player. It's about a cultural flashpoint that's reshaping women's sports in real time. Caitlin Clark is the catalyst for this evolution. She's the reason the WNBA is finally being talked about in barbershops, boardrooms, and bleachers alike. If the Indiana Fever decide to cut her loose, they won't just be trading a player. They'll be betraying the very momentum that made the league matter. What makes this even more absurd is that Clark isn't demanding special treatment. She hasn't gone rogue. She hasn't stirred up drama. All she's done is show up, lace up, and show out. She's carried the burden of the league's rising expectations with grace and still dropped 30-foot daggers like it's just another day at the office. And yet somehow the narrative is being flipped to make her the problem? That's not just disrespectful. It's delusional. It's almost poetic in the most tragic way imaginable. A player arrives, transforms the entire league, elevates everyone around her, and then becomes a scapegoat for her own success. This is how you lose stars. This is how you alienate fans. This is how you take a golden opportunity and light it on fire just to warm your hands with a little false pride. If they trade her, the message to the world is clear. Growth is only welcome until it becomes uncomfortable. And let's not pretend the backlash will be contained to social media outrage. We're talking boycotts. We're talking empty arenas. We're talking sponsors pulling out faster than a bad investment on Shark Tank. This is the kind of decision that lives in infamy, not just in sports circles, but in every conversation about how institutions mishandle their moment to evolve. Clark is that moment. Because while some people in Indiana may be content chasing incremental progress, the rest of the world is ready for a revolution, and Clark is leading it. She doesn't just belong in the WNBA. The WNBA belongs to her. And if the Fever don't want to be part of that future, someone else will. And that someone else will thrive. While Indiana becomes a footnote in the greatest comeback story women's basketball ever almost told. So here's the final word. You don't trade magic and expect the show to go on. You don't silence the thunder and still expect lightning to strike. Caitlin Clark is the epicenter of a seismic shift that's bigger than Indiana, bigger than the WNBA, and bigger than any fear-based decision. If the Fever let her go, they won't just be losing a player. They'll be losing everything she brought with her. The fans, the fire, the future. And when that happens, no rebuild will be big enough to fix what they destroyed.